Tennessee suffered one of the worst losses in the Josh Heupel era on Saturday. What went wrong? What comes next for Josh Heupel? The good, the bad, the ugly, there wasn't much good. This is your Monday Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Monday morning, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Vols. I am your host, Cain, a member of the VolQuest.com team here in town covering your Tennessee Volunteers, and the host here at Locked On Vols. And it's a place for Tennessee football news and entertainment, weekday mornings when you wake up. Thanks so much to you everydayers for making this your first listen, your first watch. Every single morning, tomorrow's show is for you. You can go ahead and send in your questions, comments, concerns for Tuesday's mailbag show. Plenty of questions, plenty to discuss. So go ahead and start sending in those questions at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. Today's episode is brought to you in part by our friends over at Game Time, where you can download the Game Time app, create an account, put in the redeem code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Again, shout out to Game Time. A lot to discuss here on Monday's show. We're going to go back and revisit Tennessee and Vanderbilt. What went wrong in this football game? Okay, some ugly truths about the 2025 football season, and how college football is just so drunk. Like we'll get into more of this in segment number 3, but the fact that the college football world is on fire right now, and you're just kind of sitting back being upset about the Vanderbilt loss. Again, like perspective, and some of you guys think maybe you want that, and that's fine. I mean, to each their own. Like, things could be worse. You could be an Ole Miss fan right now is what I'm trying to say. But still, again, it's just such a weird time in college football, and I kind of want to speak on that in segment number 3 coming up here later in the show. But anyway, I mean, Tennessee and Vanderbilt, again, I put out a post-game show on Saturday, and I got some I'm going to go over some of the lovely YouTube comments that I received. More on that in segment number 2. Goodness gracious, they were some of the best. But nonetheless, I mean, it was a disgusting game. 45-24 output. Tennessee held it just 3 points in the second half. Middle eight got demolished. Tennessee, season high yards allowed in 582 yards. Season high in rushing yards allowed. It's 314. I mean, what a horrendous showing defensively in this football game. And you knew that was going to be the case, right? I mean, you knew that was going to be the case because Vanderbilt's got a good offense this year. And again, some of you guys still don't want to hear this, and I kind of wrote about this on Sunday. I mean, Vanderbilt is a good football team this year, okay? It's not that you lost to Vanderbilt because, again, I understand the thought process. You always beat Vanderbilt, but like, Vanderbilt's a good football team this year, so the loss is just one thing. It's how you lost. You should never get bullied. You should never get demolished. You should never get picked on and bulldozed like that, especially at home. Year 5, the end of year 5, and Josh Heupel, like that should. Sometimes you're going to lose games. That's football, okay? Losing to a Vanderbilt, a 10-2 Vanderbilt that is probably right now on the outside looking into the college football playoff, despite being 10-2 from the Southeastern Conference. So, like you lose games. That's football, okay? But the way you lost, that's the inexcusable part of this. The way you lost that football game is, again, the inexcusable part and kind of how that was. I spoke about this on Saturday, and I'm going to continue to reiterate this, and a lot of you guys don't watch and listen to the postgame show, and on Saturday I wouldn't want to watch it either, trust me. The call that changed it all. It was the roughing the passer call there at the end of the second quarter heading into halftime. Tennessee got a stop on third down. Roughing the passer by Jalen McMurray allowed the offense to stay on the field for Vanderbilt. They scored one play later and tied it at 21-21 heading into the halftime break. From there, they took a drive to open the second half, marched 75 yards, 11 plays, took 6 minutes and 35 seconds off the clock, and scored a touchdown. So you went down a score, down a touchdown, to up a touchdown during the middle 8. It was really the middle 12 because that drive took so long. Tennessee goes 3 and out in that business. They come back, they score another time, and then, that's kind of all she wrote. They kicked a field goal up by 10, and it felt like an insurmountable lead at that point because Tennessee barely had the football in the third quarter. And you're just trying to play catch up. But back to the hit that changed it all, the call that changed it all. This is a decisive play. Some people are not going to agree with what I say. Some people will. What I will say is that's not called 10 years ago. Okay, and I said this on the postgame show, like, football's soft now. I mean, it is. And certainly you want to protect players. You want to protect the head, the noggin, okay? You want to protect quarterbacks because a lot of times they're in vulnerable spots. I'm with you. But at some point, just put flags on these guys because football is soft in 2025. And it's even worse in the National Football League, okay? It's even worse. Having said that, okay, in my opinion, you're going to get that call right from the passer 9 times out of 10. People have been disagreeing with me that I've said this since Saturday. Yeah. In my opinion, you're going to get that called against you if you're Tennessee 9 times out of 10. Because number 1, the quarterback was throwing. Number 2, he was coming down. Number 3, he got hit in the head. Number 4, it was after the play. Like, you're going to get called. But, like, my thing is, from a defender standpoint, you're Jalen McMurray, what more could you do? That's what I want to know. What more could you do? You can't stop, okay? You physically can't stop. You're going full speed. You can't stop. I wrote this on Sunday. If you did maybe you could do like a Hunter Inslee dive slide and get out of the way, but outside of that, what more can you do? He was trying to hold up, in my opinion. The throw on the run from Pavia caused him to come off the ground. He was coming back down, and that's when you hit him in the head. It's just a tough play. It's a really, really tough play, in my opinion, for the defender. Josh Heupel was asked about it post-game. He said, quote, end of the day, you got to stop. Not smart football. Give another set of downs. They get 7 instead of kicking a field goal. It's all those little things that add up to the result that you don't like, and it looks like that on the scoreboard. This game at this level, it's the small details. The officials just said that we hit him in the head. Again, Pavia was coming down. Like, what? He came down into that hit. Like, it's so frustrating to me. Because what more can you do if you're Jalen McMurray? But that play, right, wrong, indifferent, whatever your stance is on that play, changed the course of the football game. Now, I'm not saying Tennessee wins if they don't call that. I don't know. Who's to know if Vanderbilt doesn't come out and just completely dominate the second half just like it did already, and instead of a 14-point swing, it was a 10-point swing in the middle eight. I don't know. Who's to know? But that call changed everything in this football game. The defense, atrocious. Allowed 9 yards per play, 9.2 yards per play in the second half, 24 points in the second half, 3 touchdowns, a field goal. They never had a stop in the second half. It went touchdown, touchdown, field goal, touchdown. 314 yards on the ground in the football game, easily a season high, 70 more yards than the disastrous at the time 240 yards on the ground that you allowed to Arkansas. That 11-play, 75-yard drive that Vanderbilt took down the field to score right after halftime to complete the middle eight, they didn't face a third down until the play right before a touchdown. Didn't face a third down at all in that drive until the play before a touchdown. Tennessee missed 12 tackles. I mean, they picked Pavia off a couple times in the first half, and luckily so. Maybe it could have been worse. One was at the 1-yard line. Heck of a play by Idris Farouk, and I know what Pavia was doing. He had a linebacker covering a slot. I mean, he was going after that slot, trying to throw it over the linebacker's head, and he just sailed it, and Idris Farouk was in the right place, made a play. And then Ty Redmond picked him off as well. Tennessee created opportunities in the first half. So I was sitting there at halftime like, okay, well, this defense is kind of doing what it does, right? It's going to give up a lot, but it's gonna create those opportunities. Tennessee went down and scored on both those turnovers. But the middle eight, disaster. The call that changed it all, disaster for Tennessee. It went against Tennessee. The defense was a disaster all game long. And it really takes, and the offense deserves some blame as well. Mike Matthews drops a touchdown pass down 10. I mean, Joey Aguilar should have had over 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He settles at 299, I think, and a touchdown or whatever. But Mike Matthews drops a touchdown down 10. Tennessee couldn't run the football at all in the second half. They finished the day with 83 yards rushing. Deshaun Bishop had 105 yards at one time. That just goes to tell you how Tennessee's offensive line didn't hold up in the second half. Well, really all game. 2 sacks first half, 2 sacks second half. Tennessee's offensive line didn't hold up in big games. Oklahoma 4 sacks, Alabama 4 sacks, Vanderbilt 4 sacks. It was one of the better offensive linemen entering the Alabama game midseason, just like Tennessee's defense was like leading the nation with 26 sacks. And more on this here in a moment when we talk about ugly truths, because there are some massive ugly truths in this football game, in this football season. We'll talk about that in segment number 2. But that just goes to show you Tennessee couldn't run the football at all. At all. Deshaun Bishop ended 97 yards rushing, but Tennessee had 83 on the ground because Tennessee gave up too many sacks. Tennessee had to go away from the run game because the game shrinked and Tennessee was trailing, by 10, just like that, entering the fourth quarter, and Tennessee couldn't run the football anymore. Very, very frustrating. But bottom line, you lost at home, you got punked at home, and it doesn't help matters that it was by Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt's a good football team this year. Some people got so mad at me on Saturday for saying that, but I mean, do you have eyes? Just because it says Vanderbilt doesn't mean you can't say Vanderbilt's a good football team this year, because that's the God's honest truth. But it's the way you lost this football game. You just got bullied. You got beat up and got stuffed in a locker. And that should never happen. Should never happen. And that's why it's so frustrating for a lot of Tennessee fans. And that's why there's outrage, and that's why there's just a lot of talk. A lot of talk here on a Sunday into a Monday. So the month of December is going to kind of stink. Not until portal season gets here, and we'll see big picture stuff. We'll continue to talk about that. I mean, there's so much to discuss this week as we kind of enter that first phase of the offseason. A lot of review going to be happening this week. We're going to hit every subject you want to hit on. If you want me to talk about something, please add _Cainer at Locked On Vols. Make it a part of your mailbag question for tomorrow's show as well. We're going to do a lot of review here this week on Locked On Vols. But that Vanderbilt game, atrocious. Just atrocious. Defensive line not holding its gaps. Linebackers over pursuing, getting knocked out of holes. Defensive backs taking horrible angles, missing tackles. I mean, it was a team effort, okay? I mean, it wasn't just one person here or there. It was a team effort, and it was just a really, really bad football game for Tennessee, and that's about all you can say about it. I mean, it was a whipping. It was a whipping. Some ugly truths about this season and more. Where does Josh Heupel go from here? Segment number 2 is coming up as we continue on here. It is your Monday morning Locked On Vols. Stay tuned. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994, and with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why I've got the Game Time app. It's clutch, finally giving fans real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Game Time, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through the matchups and compare seat views and all that. You can pick a game, tap a section, and your tickets can be locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for that fine print. The seat view feature is a game changer. You literally see what the pitch looks like from your seat before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets in every match, concert, or even anything else with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, put in the redeem code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, put in the redeem code Locked On College for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right, guys, want to welcome you back into your Monday morning Locked On Vols. Not a very happy, sunshine, pumpy show here this morning. I'm in a good mood. Hey, I'm fine. I'm blessed to do this job. Blessed to cover Tennessee football. You have games like this. You have seasons kind of like this that come to a close. And but at the end of the day, man, I'm blessed, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And I know you guys are as well. And we'll see exactly where Tennessee's going to go to a bowl game. A lot of Gator Bowl talk, some Music City maybe, some Belk Bowl talk. Again, here on a Monday morning, if I had to pick, I'd probably say Gator. But again, I don't know anything. We'll see how Conference Championship weekend plays out. But nonetheless, a lot to discuss here on this Locked On Vols about the game from Saturday, losing 45-24 to Vanderbilt, but also what's to come moving forward and kind of what the season looks like overall. Again, send in your questions, comments, concerns for tomorrow's show, and send me any subject topics you guys want me to hit on from this year, because I'm an open book this week for sure. I did a post-game reaction show on Saturday night, and Boogie comes on the show, and he always makes a deal about some of you guys don't like him and make it be known in the comments. And I always tell him to stay out of the comments. Sorry, I had to take a drink. Always tell him to stay out of the comments. Nothing good. A lot of times there's nothing good in the comments. You just can't get caught up in those. Well, I wanted to go and read the comments from that show just because it's a tough loss, and I kind of wanted to see kind of what was being said about the game and all that. And man, so I mean, obviously a lot of frustration, and I get that. I'm not saying you shouldn't be. A lot of people out on Heupel, many people out on Tim Banks. Nothing new there. A lot of people were out on me. Did you guys know that it was my fault Tennessee lost? Did you guys know that I'm in over my head? I'm talking from a script and bullet points because I don't want to get fired. Did you guys know that I get paid by the university? Did you guys know that I'm weak? Did you guys know that I'm trying to think of the other ones? Oh my God. I mean, nothing new. I've worked in radio for years, so like this is nothing new, but it's always just kind of funny. As I always do want to say to those lovely individuals, if you happen to be listening right now, why you hate Tennessee, why are you listening? There was one moron that just went after me, and I left like, I swear, there was like 217 comments last time I checked. This moron left probably like 15 of them. I swear. I mean, we talk about a loser, no life. Just going after me for everything. We're talking about playoffs. Yeah, that was it. Like playoffs. He mentioned in like 17 comments, like, Eric Cain's a disservice to the fan base talking about playoffs. Well, every team talks about playoffs because every game, excuse me, every game you then talk about the game, and you say, okay, what's this mean for your playoff chances? You're an expanded field. You're at 12 now, probably going to 16 at some point when they vote on it, probably in January now. Like every game of your regular season, you then say, okay, what's this mean for your playoff chances? That's the world we live in, folks, and idiots that I'm talking to right now. Like, what do you like? That's just reality, you know. And of course, I was talking playoffs. You know why? Because Tennessee put 21 on Georgia in the first quarter. Tennessee threw it. Joey Aguilar had 5 total touchdowns against Georgia. Joey Aguilar threw for over 400, or was it 400 yards? It was close to 400 yards against Georgia. Like, of course, I was talking playoffs, just like you were. Because you saw what this offense could do. And you thought eventually the defense would come around. Even after Syracuse, you're like, man, they gave up too many points and too many yards. But 5 sacks, defensive touchdown, like that was early on, you know, until you kind of figured out that this defense was kind of what it was. But I mean, of course, up until the Oklahoma loss, you were talking playoffs because a 10-2 team, for the most part, Vanderbilt's probably going to be left out. And that's interesting, too, because, you know, Tennessee would have needed this win over Vanderbilt, so maybe this win could have propelled Tennessee. But with Tennessee's weak schedule, relatively speaking, at 10-2, the way the season lost, so you beat Oklahoma, though, that Oklahoma, then Vanderbilt, okay, those two would be good enough to get in. My point is, 10-2 from this league should get you in based on who Tennessee would have beaten to get there. Once you lost to Oklahoma, it was done. I mean, it was done. There was no chance. There was never any chance. But, of course, everybody's talking playoffs. I mean, that's just the era we're living in right now. But so many people, I'll say all this, so many people were frustrated with the loss, and I get all that. But it's been kind of a season of brewing. Like there's my biggest takeaway from the season, there's nothing to hang your hat on. Like, I mean, I'm not going to act like it's so doom and gloom. Tennessee won 8 games. I mean, in 2017 and 14 and 13 and 11 and 10 and, you know, all those years, you would do anything for 8 wins. I'm not trying to say you should celebrate because you shouldn't. Like, 8 wins is not the standard anymore. The CFP is the standard for Tennessee football, right? But I'm not trying to say like everything was just horrible. Tennessee had one of the best offenses in the SEC. That was fun. Tennessee had a quarterback from junior college. Great story. He led the SEC in the regular season in passing. That's fun. That's cool. That's awesome. Tennessee ran the football okay. Not great, but okay. Deshaun Bishop, great story. Tennessee, one of the nation leaders in defensive touchdowns, one of the SEC leaders in takeaways. Like, there are bright spots from this football team. I'm not trying to act like this football team just was awful, okay? But there's nothing to hang your hat on. Some hard truths in this football season. Combined records of the 8 opponents that Tennessee beat this season, 34-61. East Tennessee State University, the only team that Tennessee beat with a winning record. They finished 7-5 on the season. The only team that Tennessee beat with a winning record was ETSU. Tennessee was 0-4 against ranked opponents this year, losing to Georgia, at Alabama, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt. 3 of those losses at home, obviously. Were outscored by 56 points in those 4 football games. Some hard truths. Furthermore, all 4 of those losses featured at least one scoreless quarter for Tennessee in those football games. This is the first time Tennessee's lost 3 home games at Neyland Stadium since 2021. Some ugly truths. Tennessee had 1 SEC win at Neyland Stadium this year. Again, you can only play who's on your schedule, right? And Tennessee's schedule, all things considered, you know, I mean, you come from the SEC, you're playing a tough schedule, and nobody from the Big Ten still wants the schedule, except, you know, outside of those 5 teams at the top that can handle it. Like, you can't help that Arkansas's down and Mississippi State was still down, and Oklahoma, yeah, you lost that game, but you kind of wish they had more firepower offensively. You can't help the cards that you're dealt at home, right? You just got to beat Georgia and you didn't. You got to beat Oklahoma and you didn't. You had chances in both those games. You're a field goal away from winning against Georgia. You didn't get it done. Oklahoma, 2 first-half turnovers, told the tale, and you lost by 6 points at 33-27. Like, that's just the nature of this beast. There's just nothing to hang your hat on from this football season, and that's kind of my biggest takeaway. Tennessee was not elite in anything. Tennessee did not have a signature win. Like last year, Tennessee got to the playoffs riding that signature win against Alabama. If Tennessee were to have beaten Vanderbilt, that would have been Tennessee's signature win on the season for a 9-3 finish. Some ugly truths. Again, I'm not saying this football team was horrible. I'm not saying this football team was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Again, when times are tough, when you walk through the desert for 15 years, you would do anything for an 8-4 football season. I was talking to an Auburn fan. He was asking about Alex Golesh, and he was saying, man, I'm just hoping for 20 points a game. And I said, buddy, you're going to get 20 points a game in your sleep next year with Alex Golesh. Like think about where Auburn is right now. Excuse me. Vibes are high with Golesh, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. But think about where some of these fan bases are right now. And again, I'm not trying to say you should be settling for this because this is unacceptable, okay? Losses like that to anyone, specifically at home, it's unacceptable. Your program's too good. Your roster's too good. You've made too much headway. You went to the CFP last year. You've beaten Florida 3 of the last 4 years. You've beaten Alabama twice. You haven't tackled Georgia yet. That's still the one mountain you gotta finish. Again, you've been to the Orange Bowl. You've had a couple 10-win seasons. You were in the CFP. Your program has come too far. You don't lose games like that anymore. But you did. And you certainly don't lose those games at home. So anyway, that's the doom and gloom part of the show. Some ugly truths in 2025, and it's kind of a weird year. I'm really intrigued to see where Tennessee's going bowling, what this roster looks like that will be fielded for that game, and what changes potentially are there going to be made on staff between now and then. If transfer portal does not open until early January, signing day's on Wednesday. We'll see if Tennessee can hold on to this class. I'm sure it will. You'll have to watch a couple of these guys. Celeste Moe took a visit to Michigan. A lot of people asking about Tristan Keys and LSU with Lane going there. I don't know. I'm just saying, we'll see if Tennessee can hold on this class, which I'm sure it will. The signing day's coming up on Wednesday. Outside of that, it's going to be a long month of December. But right here on Locked On Vols, we will talk and we'll discuss everything in the meantime. And when we come back, though, college football is so drunk. What is going on? What a Sunday it was. When you're sitting here licking your wounds and talking about, man, Tennessee's awful. What a crazy day in college football Sunday afternoon was. That's coming up next. We'll discuss. We'll comment on it. We'll react to it right here on your Monday Locked On Vols. The holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself with the season with sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. And this week is the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here, and those deals are huge. I've given Omaha Steaks as a gift before, and the reaction is always the same. Excitement when the box arrives, even bigger smiles when everything hits the grill. The quality is exactly what you hope for. Incredibly tender steaks, rich flavor with the meals, and it makes hosting a weeknight or holidays, that cooking for those events, so much easier. The variety is so underrated, right? You've got steaks, burgers, comfort meals, sides, desserts. It's one of those gifts that truly fits anyone, and honestly, it's the kind of gift that brings people together that you don't need to guess anyone's sizes. That's a big thing this holiday season. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide, an extra $20, an extra 20% off select features during the cyber sale. So that's 50% off site-wide, extra 20% off select features on the site for cyber sale, and an additional $35 off using the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. Promo code COLLEGE at checkout. omahasteaks.com. Promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. All right, guys, welcome back to your Monday morning Locked On Vols. I am your host, Cain. Don't forget, I know you guys have a lot of questions or a lot of comments. Please get those in there at _Cainer and at Locked On Vols. People are mad. People are frustrated. Our pets' heads are falling off. Is that what that thing was at one point in time? I don't really remember what that was. That was something the kids were doing. When I say kids, I think I was in that demographic when that thing came out forever ago. Nonetheless, Saturday was not fun. People were upset. People were frustrated. I get it. And I was joking around, a little bit, talking about some of the YouTube comments and in segment number 2. I mean, that's part of it. That's just, it is what it is. You lose like that, fan, short for fanatic. I say it all the time. Emotional, passion, anger. It is what it is. I get it. I'm used to it, and I certainly get it, and I understand it, because what happened on Saturday at Neyland Stadium just shouldn't happen. How crazy is it right now, right? You have a head coach in Josh Heupel. I know there's some Penn State rumors out there. Here early on, I haven't heard anything substantial on that, and certainly, keep, just like the Tony Vitello stuff, you always listen and you always ask around. Haven't heard anything to say that thing has legs at all, but, there's always going to be those rumors out there and everything. And it's funny, Penn State was, fired its coach way back when, months ago, and Penn State still hasn't made a hire yet. Virginia Tech hired James Franklin, but the SEC dominoes got rolling on Sunday officially, right? And so you're sitting here, and as frustrated as you are, you're like, man, wouldn't I hate to be an Ole Miss fan right now? No. Let me take that back, because Ole Miss can still go play for a freaking national championship this year. Man, at least I'm not an Arkansas fan right now. I feel for John Neighbors. I don't know what his numbers are like, and if he's getting a boost from the coaching search or the anger and the outrage and more views, more business, more money. I hope that for him, because I can tell you, an 8-4 football season is chef's kiss. Just awful, awful for anything I write, for anything I pod, because if things were horrible, views are up. If things are great, views are up. If things are just 8-4, people don't care, right? Don't care at all. Unless you suffer a big-time loss like that to Vanderbilt, which, again, I'm not ever rooting for. I'd much rather do this job when Tennessee's successful and doing well. 2022 will forever be my favorite year in the industry. So much fun. It was a freaking blast. Last year's CFP run was fun, but still, people didn't like the offense, So I hope, for John Neighbors' sake, that he's getting a lot out of this. And I hope for all my colleagues, Chris Gordy, Locked On SEC, Stephen Willis, Locked On Ole Miss, Brandon Olson, Locked On Gators, Matt over at Locked On LSU, man, he's a freaking pro. He don't need any help. His show's awesome. Zach Blackerby, speaking of pros, Locked On Auburn. Again, I hope these guys are taking advantage and making all this money, right? Because all the dominoes fell in the SEC yesterday. And so you're sitting there, and you could be frustrated, but you're sitting there in Arkansas, you can be an Arkansas fan, and they just hired Memphis's coach. Okay, he's okay. Ron Silverfield. I'm not too familiar with this game. I'm going to be completely honest with you. He was there for 6 seasons, and I don't think he ever competed for a conference title. Or I don't think he ever won a conference title, I should say. But I haven't done much research on him again. But I know that Arkansas was in deep talks with Alex Golesh. Like Alex Golesh was in deep talks. There were some reports out there that he was going to be the next head coach of the Hogs. And that obviously fell through, because early on Sunday morning, after a lot of talk about Alex Golesh maybe taking the Ole Miss job if Lane Kiffin does leave, it was Alex Golesh, Tennessee's former OC, Alex Golesh, who I saw just a month ago up here recruiting at Knox West High School, watching Iverson Garcia, who was a commit to South Florida. Iverson Garcia, maybe he comes to Tennessee and flips on signing day. Who knows? That's something to pay attention to, especially during all this coaching carousel, stuff like that. But Alex Golesh, who I saw in the airport at St. Petersburg 2 years ago when I was going down there to visit family, good dude. Happy for him. Really happy for him going to Auburn, man. That's awesome. But he kind of started the dominoes early on a Monday morning. He's going to Auburn, so Arkansas is so we're not getting Alex Golesh. So I think Arkansas made. I think John Summerall was official to Florida somewhere around that time as well. And Florida, of course, was out on Kiffin. What a crazy Thanksgiving Day and Thanksgiving Eve and Black Friday it was. Seeing Florida fans react to some of the rumors and everything of how the Lane Kiffin ordeal and saga went. And was it Florida out on Kiffin? Was it Kiffin narrowing his options to Ole Miss and LSU and out on Florida? I don't know. Who's to know the truth behind all that? But goodness gracious, what a fiasco. And if you're a Tennessee fan, you're sitting here eating popcorn, right? Because for once, you're not in this. And for once, you're not sitting here doom and gloom. And for once, you're not sitting here saying, oh, everybody's laughing at us right now. You're just sitting here eating popcorn. Of course, that was before the Saturday game. You're just mad right now, and that's fair. That's fair. So Golesh to Auburn. You've got John Summerall to Florida, which I am still so surprised you made that hire because, like, I don't think it's a bad hire. Like, I think he's a good coach, obviously from Tulane, and he's granted a chance to keep coaching, right? Going to try to win a conference, trying to make a CFP run. Like, they granted him the opportunity to continue to coach, whereas Ole Miss was like, no, Lane, get out of here. We'll get to Lane here in a moment. I think John Summerall is a good coach. Now, knowing you just hired Billy Napier and that failed, I'm still shocked at the end of the day that you ended up with Summerall. But here's the thing. Like, when it was apparent you weren't getting Kiffin, Drinkwitz linked up, Elko linked up, all these other coaches around the conference like linked up and signed extensions or around college football. Matt Rule did with Nebraska, which is hilarious. Like who doesn't belong in this conversation? It's Matt Rule at Nebraska, right? So it's kind of like, well, what are you left with? Like, you got to go G5. That's kind of where all the good options are. And John Summerall is going to be a really good coach. And Alex Golesh is a good coach. Like these guys are good coaches. But I'm still just like how it played out. Like I thought you couldn't go back. That's why I didn't think Alex Golesh was ever deep in consideration with Florida, because I just thought that you could never really go that route again with Billy Napier. But nonetheless, John Summerall's at Florida. Mitchell Ron Silverfield is at Arkansas. Like, they're so mad. And like, I don't think they're mad at Silverfield because they don't really know him yet. They're so mad at that AD. That AD that's the chair of the College Football Playoff Committee, which has no business doing that and making the stupid 6-7 jokes on national television and like doing all that when he's doing a coaching search himself. I mean, again, could be worse, guys. Could be worse. Then you've got Lane Kiffin, who finally made his decision, and by the time it got to Saturday or Saturday afternoon, like, it was made apparent. I mean, he's going to LSU. Like, now the hang-up is, can he coach his team? Can he coach his team in the CFP? Can he coach an Ole Miss team, the best season it's ever had in program history? If Auburn would have beat Alabama, maybe a chance to go play an SEC title game in Atlanta next weekend. The holdup there the last, day or so, 18 hours or so, will Lane be allowed to coach his team? Because he was always going to LSU. And then you got reports coming out on Sunday, like, number one, that's not happening. His meeting was supposed to be at 10 a.m. with the players. It got pushed to 1. Was he even going to be present because his travel to LSU, to Baton Rouge, was going to be during that time? I still don't know exactly what happened. I don't cover that team. I'm not a fan of that team, so I don't care. But, like, he comes out and puts out a statement and essentially says, I'm excited about going to LSU. Can't wait to get there. I tried to coach my team. I wanted to finish this job. I wanted to finish what we started. I wanted to coach in the playoffs. But, he called his AD out by name, said he wouldn't allow that to happen. Like, typical Lane departure message. Like, again, there's been a whole lot of drama there the last couple of days. Again, not here, though. So you just sit there and eat popcorn. When it ends with Lane Kiffin, and we know this better than anybody, when it ends poorly. You just hope that middle ground comes with a lot of wins, comes with a lot of championships. USC fired on the tarmac. There was an issue with Davis in Oakland, right, with the Raiders. Like, I forgot what happened there, but he was fired in a unique way there. Like Nick Saban, who Lane Kiffin idolizes and looks to as like a father figure, and he mentioned that in the press conference, him and Pete Carroll, and I think that's awesome because Monty's not here anymore. But like at the time when he took the FAU job and he was the OC at Alabama, he got fired. Wasn't allowed to coach in the championship game. Jeremy Pruitt was, if you remember, but Kiffin wasn't, because like he wouldn't even allow him to do that. But he was advocating for that on national television for Ole Miss administration to let him continue to coach. Like, but that ended kind of poorly as the OC tenure at Alabama. We know about what happened here. And then whatever they're gonna call this, his departure from Ole Miss, like, the endings are gonna be brutal. But you just hope that the middle ground comes with a lot of wins. And I mean, obviously he built Ole Miss, and gosh, Ole Miss is on its best run in football history with Ole Miss. That's with Lane Kiffin, that's for sure. But that's over. So Lane Kiffin not coaching his team in the playoffs, and I think if you're Ole Miss, they stood their ground. They're like, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. Just like I don't blame Tulane for letting John Summerall continue coaching, because, Tulane has a real chance here, right, to get in the field if you win a championship. But Tulane is not Ole Miss. Tulane is not Ole Miss. USF, Golesh, of course, is going and coaching at Auburn now, but their CEO put out a a big, long statement thanking the Golesh family, thanking Alex Golesh, fired up. They're supporting him. They're ready to roll. Like, you're not seeing that at Ole Miss, and I don't blame them. But there's a difference in USF and Ole Miss. There's a difference, okay? There's a difference. Ole Miss makes the best of a bad situation right now for its current team trying to go compete for a national championship, and that's promoting Pete Golding, one of the best defensive coordinators in college football. Boy, what an eventful Sunday. Could any of that affect Tennessee? Alex Golesh, former Tennessee coach here, was OC. Going back to Auburn, will he take Rodney Gardner with him? Could Coach Chop go? Could Coach Chop go from here to Auburn with Alex Golesh? Does any of these coaching hires and coaching carousels affects the staff? What does Josh Heupel do with the staff anyway? Will there be some changes? We're going to talk about all this week. Should there be? Will there be? What are the chances? How does the coaching carousel affect Tennessee's assistant coaching staff? All that and more we're going to discuss right here on Locked On Vols. What a time to be alive in college football. It's drunk. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we love it. We love it. Even if your team loses in embarrassing fashion to Vanderbilt on Saturday, we still love it. Loads to get into, guys. Can't thank you enough for being here. Seriously, making us your first listen, your first watch each and every single morning. Bottom of my heart, love this. Thank you. Thankful for you. Send in those questions, comments, concerns. A lot to talk about. We'll hit up those on tomorrow's show, mailbag edition of the show, right here on Locked On Vols. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. This is Locked On Vols.